Hello team and welcome back to the channel. So before starting the video, I would request you please subscribe to the channel. It takes a lot of hard work and effort, and your subscription keeps me motivated to keep making hands-on videos for you. Okay. Also, I'm available on Telegram as well as Instagram. So if you need any suggestions, guidance, or if you are having any doubts, you can ping me there. Also, I post content on LinkedIn. So there also you can just connect to me. Okay. Also, one more thing. So I have recently launched my batch 2 of Zero to Hero DevSecOps and Cloud DevOps dedicated course. So if you are interested to give 2 months of time to be prepared for interview and crack interviews, in this course I'm going to cover everything from scratch to advanced level. Okay, and that will make sure that you are prepared with proper resume. Not just that, I will also even guide you with corporate level projects. So if you are going to transition or switch, you can explain different kind of corporate level projects which will help you to crack the interviews. Okay, yeah, and as per the price, you can see it's just 6,000. So as compared to the syllabus that we are going to cover, the price is very low. You can check out the syllabus from the description in the from the link in the description. Okay, now let's jump to today's topic. So today we are going to get started with writing pipelines. Okay, and since I get to know like lots of people are facing issues while writing pipelines as well as understanding the steps. Okay, so in this video what I will do, first of all, I will make sure that every single server that we are going to use in the pipeline, I will show you from scratch how to set them up, as well as whatever tool we are going to use in this Jenkins, I will show you how to set them up as well. Okay, also writing pipelines, I will just today make it very easier for you. So next time if you are going to write pipelines from scratch, you won't be hesitating or feeling any issue. Okay, yeah, so as of now, not a single thing I have done in this Jenkins. Okay, I just set it up, which I have shown you yesterday how I can do that, right? Also one more thing, the project that we are going to use today is a full stack project which will be having a front end, back end, as well as a database to store credentials. Okay, so yeah, let's get started. So for writing pipelines, first of all we need to set up certain things, right? So first what I'm going to do is go to manage Jenkins and install certain plugins. Okay, so let me explain you also side by side which plugins I'm installing. So first of all, we should go to available plugins. Here first I want to install a plugin which will help me get multiple version of Java. Okay, so I will just search for JDK and I will select Eclipse Temurian installer. It will help me download multiple version. Well, like if I want to use JDK 8 or 11 or 17, I can just select it from here. Okay, next plugin which I want to get is Sonar. So since we are going to perform SonarQube code quality check and code coverage, so for that we are going to need a plugin known as SonarQube Scanner, which will be used, which will be getting integrated with SonarQube server and perform the code quality checks. Okay. Next, I want to run OWASP dependency check on our source code and dependencies and libraries. So it can be found out if there is any vulnerabilities in our jar file or like libraries. Okay, so that we can do with the help of OWASP dependency check tool. Okay, 3 plugins installed, like selected. Next I want to install Docker. Okay, so since Docker is going to be needed for like running Docker commands, building Docker images, so we are going to install Docker plugin. In addition to Docker plugin, 2 more plugins I am going to install, which is Docker pipeline. Okay, because build and use Docker containers from pipeline, so that part we need to do. Secondly, Docker build step, so this also will be needing. Okay, so total 5 or 6 plugins I guess we have selected 1 2 3 4 5 6. Okay, and these are the plugins that you'll be needing before you start writing pipelines. Okay, so let's click on install. Now scroll down and here you can see the progress, which of them has been installed and which of them is in progress. Okay, also as I said, I'll be showing you how to set up servers like SonarQube server we are going to set up. Okay, so just be patient and just follow the video and you will know everything, trust me on that. Okay, so let's wait for it to complete, a few more seconds for it. See, once this completes, then we will configure the plugins that we have just installed. Okay, and I guess yeah, this is done, right? Now quickly click on manage Jenkins, go to tools. So whatever plugins you just installed, its configuration will be available now. Okay, first we will go to JDK. Okay, and I want to use JDK 17 in my project. Okay, so I will provide a name, and always whenever you are configuring a tool, always select the option install automatically for all the tools. This will help you a lot. select this, and here add installer. So this option that you are seeing, install from adoptium.net, this is coming because we've installed the plugin Eclipse Timurian installer. Okay, so select it, and as you can see, we just need to select a specific version of JDK we want to use. For me, I will go with JDK 17. Okay, now JDK 17 is configured, right? Scroll down, and here you will see SonarQube scanner installations. This is visible because we have installed the plugin SonarQube scanner. Okay, so again, let's provide a name which will be just sonar dash scanner. Okay, then version you want to select. For me, I will just go with latest. Okay, and yeah, this is also configured. Now scroll down to Maven. So since we are going to work with Java based projects which can be built using Maven, so we need to configure Maven. Okay, name which I want to give is Maven 3, and specific version I need to install, so I will go with 3.6.1 because it is kind of stable. Okay, scroll down. Now we have installed OS dependency check also, so its configuration is visible. Okay, so let's provide a name which will be DC dependency check, any name you can provide. Okay, and as I have said, always select install automatically option. Okay, and in this installer option, select github.com. Now we just need to select a version which we want to use. For me, I have worked with mostly I have worked with 6.5.1 because usually with my project it is very much compatible and works fine. Okay, and finally we are going to configure Docker installations. Okay, so here let's provide a name which will be just Docker, and as I say, install automatically installer download from docker.com. Okay, and version we want to use is latest. Fine. So all the tools that we just installed through plugins are configured now, right? Okay, next thing, let's start by creating the server. So which server we need to use, right? So first of all, we need to set up SonarQube server. Okay, how do I do that? So basically for me, what I prefer is creating servers using Docker container because it is like very much handy and it gets done very quickly, and we can remove them if you want. Okay, so first of all, what I'm going to do is install Docker on this VM where my Jenkins is running. Okay, and I have the steps here. I have, so one by one, these are the commands I'm going to run quickly, and Docker will be installed. Okay, let me copy the next command, which will be this one. And do not worry, these commands will be available to you, so you can also run them. Do not worry about that. Okay, but yeah, just only one thing you should do is support me so that I keep making videos. Okay, also if you want dedicated course where you can connect to me directly for any issue, you can just go ahead and like get enrolled in my paid course, whose price is not that much as compared to whatever services or whatever things you are going to learn after the course. Okay, and let me update. So basically, in case you are wondering what exactly we are doing with these commands, okay, so basically what I am doing is adding a Docker package, okay, specific version which I can use afterwards. Okay, which I can install, like Docker I can install after adding the packages. Okay, so I will copy this command, add it here, and Docker compose actually we don't need, so leave it. Now these three commands I will just run. So see, this command basically ensures that every user on your VM can be able to run the Docker commands. Okay, because Jenkins is going to run the commands with specific user named Jenkins, so we need to make sure that Jenkins is also able to execute commands, Docker commands. Okay, so Docker service restart and this command. Okay, now let me clear screen with Control L. Okay, now if I run Docker pull hello world, this is done to check if we are able to run Docker commands. Okay, and you can see it is able to run using default tags so and so. Okay, so that is fine. Now let me create SonarQube container. Okay, I will run the command as docker run -d. -d means running in background, okay, or detached mode you can say. Then the name of the container, I will go with name sonar. Okay, and a port on which our application this server should be running. In my case, there are two ports you need to provide, which is first is the host port, okay, and second is the container port. Okay, host port is the port on your browser or on your machine where you will access the server, okay, in browser, and container port is the port open on the container inside which your SonarQube or any other application is running. Okay, next we need to provide a Docker image, so I usually go with SonarQube and tag. Okay, tag basically refers to specific version. For me, basically I like to use LTS version, okay, long-term support version, because they are stable. So we will write LTS-community. In case you are thinking why did I write community, because SonarQube has two major versions: community version, which is open source or completely free available, then it has developer version, which is paid. Okay, but in my opinion, community version will help you do all the tasks, so you don't need to get the paid version. Okay, click enter and it will start downloading the Docker image for SonarQube, and it will create the SonarQube container. Okay, so let's wait for a few seconds. Also, meanwhile, if you have not subscribed, please subscribe to the channel. It keeps me motivated to make such hands-on videos for you. Okay, yeah, so container is created. Just to make sure that it is running, we can run the command docker ps to see container is running or not, and you can see it is running now. Okay, now how do we access it? So we will copy the IP address of the VM where we have ran these commands. Okay, created the container. Okay, so I will paste it here, this, and port, you remember host port. Here we need to put host port, because host port is the port on which we access the application. Okay, which is 9000. Click enter and you can see SonarQube is starting. Okay, so it takes like few seconds to get started. Once it does, then we will log into it, and then we will do the configuration whichever is needed in SonarQube side. Okay, before it gets started, one more thing let me tell you, like, you know, when we want to connect to any server or something, what we do, we have the URL, then we provide the username and password, right? Same thing we will be using for SonarQube to connect it to Jenkins. Okay, you can see it is asking for username and password, and when we are creating SonarQube for the first time, the default username is admin and password is admin. So let's put it admin, password also admin. Okay, click on login, and yeah, so here you need to update the password. Okay, so I will just change the password to something else. Okay, done. Click on update. This is done, right? Okay, next what we need to do, basically configure a SonarQube inside Jenkins, right? So as I told, you will be needing a URL, which is this one. SonarQube server URL is this one, and credential. Okay, how do we get the credentials? So we will click on administration, security, users. This is the location where all the users will exist, and for a specific user you can generate a token. We have just one user, which is admin, so we will click here, token, and just provide a name, for example like token, and click on generate. This will generate a token. Okay, now this token will be used as an authentication purpose. Okay, so let me just quickly copy it, then go back to Jenkins, then go to manage Jenkins, then go to credentials, and here click on global. Okay, and here click on add credentials. Now on global level we are adding the credential which will be used for authentication. Okay, and since we are using a token, so in kind we are going to select secret text, and here we will paste the text ID. So ID we will just put as sonar-cred. Okay, same thing we can put in description. Click on create, and you can see we have added our token, right? Now let's click on manage Jenkins, system, and as I told in previous session, system is the place where you configure servers, right? So let's scroll down and you will see SonarQube servers. This option is also visible because we have installed SonarQube scanner plugin. Okay, do not forget that. Now here SonarQube installation, so here we will configure. Click on add, and let's provide a name. Name will be Sonar, and server URL, right? So as I told, server URL is this much. Copy this and paste it here. Do not forget to remove the slash, else it will cause problems. And here server authentication token, expand it, and you see this is the token that we configured, right? Now server is configured. Click on apply, and this is saved. Okay, now this is done. Now we can quickly get started with writing our first pipeline. Okay, and as I told, we are going to write a full stack pipeline which will give you a proper insight how an application gets built and how it gets deployed side by side following security practices. Okay, so click on new item, and let's write project name will be Santa. Okay, and click on pipeline because this Jenkins job is of type pipeline. Okay, click on OK, and yeah, so as a part of our best practice, we are going to select this option, discard old builds, and maximum number of builds that I want to keep in my history is just 2. The reason, because I want to just keep the storage safe, okay, because if you are keeping so much of builds in history, it will occupy so much of space, which I don't want. Okay, scroll down and here, so this is the location where you will write pipelines. Okay, and you don't need to worry if you have never written pipeline or if you are facing issues. I will teach you now itself from scratch so you don't get any issues. Okay, so first of all, always go with a template. Hello world. Now template or structure has been created, right? I'm just guiding you the same way that I write pipelines. Okay, now you know, like in Jenkins we have multiple stages, and here you can see inside stages we have just one stage, right? So what we are going to do for now, create multiple stages. Okay, how do we do that? Just copy the one stage, then keep pasting it multiple times. Okay, now multiple stages we have created, right? But first of all, like we need to make sure that no two stages have the same name. By same name I mean this one. Okay, so let's start configuring our stages. So first stage which I want to write the name is git checkout, and this stage what it will do, it will create a local copy of the repository from GitHub. Okay, so let me quickly copy the URL of the repository and see the master branch. Okay, now here what we are going to do, we will click on pipeline syntax, open it in new page, and this is the section where you can like write any script or get any scripts for any of the steps. For example, like first step that I want to perform is git, so I will select git, provide repository URL, confirm the branch is master, and credentials. So since the repository is public, so we don't need to provide credentials. Okay, in case it was not public, then you have to again add the same way that we added sonar token, the credential, username and token for GitHub. Okay, now generate script, and this is the command that we are going to paste in our stage 1. Paste it here. Now you can see first stage is complete. Okay, next stage which I want to have for my project is compile. Okay, I want to compile the source code. Okay, now here what I want to do, when you want to run commands, shell commands, like we are going to for compilation, the command that we need to run is maven compile, right? So that is a shell command. How do we write it in pipeline? Okay, so for that we will enclose it inside shell. How do we do that? sh double quotes mvn compile. Okay, now this is done. That's all you need to do, right? Next command that I want to run is command to run test cases. Okay, and here also similar way we will write. We will enclose our command inside sh, and here we will write mvn test. Okay, great. Now one issue that you might face, that since we are using a third-party tool like maven. Okay, so if you are going to use a third-party tool like maven, SonarQube, or like anything else, you need to define it in the pipeline. Okay, how do we do that? So for defining maven, basically we have already configured maven, right? So we will specify it in pipeline in this way: tools, curly braces, and here let's say for like maven, we are going to write, for the format is first you need to write the tool type, then after that a space, then in single quotes tool name. Let me show you. So for us, maven is a tool type of maven, and the name with which we configured maven tool is maven 3. In case you are confused like from where this maven 3 is coming, let me show you. If I go to manage Jenkins tools, scroll down to maven installations, and you can see here we have configured maven 3, and from there only we are writing here. Okay, same thing we need to do for Java. So Java is a tool type of JDK. The name with which we configured is JDK 17. Let me show you. If I go to tools, scroll up, JDK installation, here you can see JDK 17 I have configured, right? So tools we have configured, right? Next, and also like 3 stages we have written: git checkout, compile, and test. Okay, next what I want to perform is SonarQube analysis. Okay, so let me write as SonarQube analysis. Okay, now we need to write this step for it. Okay, so again, since SonarQube analysis is going to be executed within using a third-party tool which we have installed, a plugin, Sonar Scanner, right? And as I told, when you want to use a third-party tool, you need to define it. Okay, so for SonarQube, what I'm going to do is create an environment variable. Okay, let me show you. I will create environment, curly braces, and let's create a variable which will write as scanner underscore home equal to tool, and in single quotes I can write name of the tool, which is sonar-scanner. Now in case you are wondering from where sonar-scanner is coming, let me show you that as well. Here, sonar-scanner, right? All the tools that we define here, they are configured inside tool section in our Jenkins manage Jenkins section. Okay, now here we need to write the steps. So what I'm going to do is take help from pipeline syntax, open it in new page, expand it, and here you will find some option like with SonarQube environment. You can see this option with SonarQube environment. Click on it and click on generate. Okay, now the thing is, here you can see it is showing credential ID, but we won't be needing it. Let me show you what exactly we will do. So I will paste the script here, remove this block and align it properly. Okay, here instead of using this, I'm going to provide the name of the server that we have configured in single quotes. And if you remember correctly, we configured the SonarQube server name with Sonar. Let me just show you that as well, so you don't forget or don't get confused. Okay, you will go to system, scroll down, and here in SonarQube server you can see SonarQube installation. I have configured Sonar, right? And that is the name we have mentioned here. Okay, now we need to here provide the commands to execute SonarQube analysis. How do we do that? We already created the environment variable, right? So we will call it here, and let me show you how we will do. Also, it is possible that in SonarQube steps or any other steps, you might have multiple lines of code. Okay, so in case of multiple lines of code, if you use as such double quotes, it won't work. So when you are having multiple lines of code, you need to write in this format as such 3 single quotes. Okay, and then you can close it also with 3 single quotes. This will refer that the code is of multiple lines. Okay, so let us write the command to execute SonarQube analysis. So what I'm going to do is use the scanner home, that is the variable /bin. So bin is the folder which contains the executable of an application. Okay, for our case it is going to be sonar-scanner, same name we have configured, right? Now here let's provide some arguments, which will be d. This is the format of writing SonarQube analysis steps. D sonar.project name, and name is going to be let's say just I can write Santa. Okay, and this is going to be next line, so I will just put a slash and I will continue writing from here, which d sonar. We need to provide the project key also, project key equal to, I will just put a same name, Santa. Okay, and finally one more argument which we need to add, which is dsonar.java.binaries. Now this is the path basically of Java binaries. Okay, and I will close it with three quotes. Okay, single quotes. This is done. Now one more thing that I want to do, like we have configured OS dependency check, right? So that also we can configure here. So I will just provide as OWASP scan. Okay, and how to write this command for it? So I have just created this. Let me show you. Is it? Yeah. So let me copy this and explain it to you properly. Okay. So first of all, you need to remember, as I told, when you want to use third-party tool, you need to specify it in your pipeline. For SonarQube scanner, we created an environment. For Maven and JDK, we use tools. For OS dependency check, we are going to use this option, ODC installation, and the name that we configured, I'm providing here. Okay, how the steps we are executing. Dependency check means like we are going to execute dependency check steps, then additional arguments. So here basically you can provide what arguments, what specific task you want to perform. For example, I have written -- scan, then /. That means I want to perform scanning on the root directory. Okay, scanning path. There are other arguments also, like format. Then you can put like HTML. So it will generate the report in HTML format. Okay, but since format we have already defined here XML format, so we don't need to put it separately. Okay, and here, yeah, second line, dependency check publisher pattern. So here we need to provide the pattern in which the report will be generated. Okay, So this much is fine. Let me just add one more stage which will perform building of the application. Okay, so if in case you are thinking like why I am putting this like after SonarQube, because SonarQube runs the analysis on the source code, and after we build the application, it will generate multiple artifacts. Okay, so which we don't want to scan using SonarQube. So mvn package I will run, and the name that I want to provide is build application. Okay, and let me just check everything seems fine. Compile, test, SonarQube massive, OS scan, build application. Compile, sorry, apply, and let us run, and let's see if any issue comes, we will fix it. Okay, so since we are running it for the first time, so whatever tool we define in our pipeline, it will be getting downloaded and installed. You can see first it was done for SonarQube scanner, then Maven 3, then it is doing for JDK 17, and this is done only one time. Afterward the tools will be available always. Okay, so let's wait for it so that it can complete. As I told, see, properly, if you want to learn things properly, then we need to do things properly and proper way. That's why I'm showing you literally this writing pipeline step from scratch, so you don't get any issues. Okay, also if any error comes, we'll be able to fix it, and then we will be understanding even what are the kind of errors we are getting. Okay, and do not worry, every single thing I will show you in this video. Okay, so Maven test is running, Maven compile done. Okay, it is running the test cases that we have in our project. And now it is running SonarQube analysis. Okay, so let's wait for it. SonarQube, yeah, analysis successful, and now it is running dependency check. So basically when you are running OS dependency check for the first time, it will take very like for 8 to 10 minutes, because it downloads database, okay, from year 2002 to till it will download till 2023. Okay, because how does OS dependency check work? It matches the dependencies that are present in your project with the database. Okay, if any dependency it sees, okay, this is not this is vulnerable, then it will inform you. Okay, so it will take some time for downloading the database. Okay, meanwhile if you look here, our SonarQube stage also completed, right? So if I go to SonarQube server, let me go to projects, you can see the result project created here. Total lines of code was 358. Okay, click on Santa, and here we can see in detail whatever issues we have in our source code. There were 3 bugs, 2 security hotspots, and 6 code smells. Okay, and debt is 33. It is technical debt, that means 33 minutes will be needed for fixing these bugs and code smells. Okay, so this is good. SonarQube stage is working fine, right? Now here we need to wait for a few seconds so that this stage will also complete. So let me just fast forward the video so we don't waste any time. So let's wait for a few seconds, and you can see it is saying that latest version is available, but for me the version that works fine is 6.5.1, so I usually go with that only. Okay, so let me scroll up and let me show you. You can see the report, dependency check report, is generated on this location. Okay, with this file inside this file. Okay, in format XML. Scroll down. Now it is doing the building the application to generate the artifact in the form of jar file. That is also success, right? Okay, so this is good. You can see these many stages we have: 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. Okay, okay, now what I want to show you is, if I open the build, click on workspace, so this is the location, like whatever new files are generated, they will exist inside here. If I click on this, and all this is the source code. Okay, but this target folder, this is the one that gets generated when you are running Maven based commands. Okay, like Maven compile, test, and package. If I open it, you will be able to see there is a jar file. Okay, and this is the actual executable application. So if I execute this jar file, the application will be running. Okay, so that means our application is up, portable application or executable jar file is created. Okay, now we need to understand from where we can run it properly. Okay, so what we are going to do is run it inside a Docker container. Okay, so for that also we need to add stages, obviously. Okay, so let us do that. So again, what I'm going to do is create the stage, which I will do by just copy pasting. Okay, and let us provide the name as build Docker image. Okay, now we need to take help from pipeline syntax. Okay, let me open it in new page, scroll down, and here we will see some option like with Docker registry. This one, second last option, open it. Okay, so if you are using Docker Hub repository, public repository, then you don't need to provide the URL. You can see here URL Docker you are using may be left blank to use public Docker Hub registry. For me also, I'm using a public Docker Hub registry, so I don't need to put anything here. But since we are going to push a Docker image to our registry, so for that we need to provide credentials. Okay, so let me just add it directly from here by clicking on Jenkins. Then username with password. Username will be this one. Then password. So password will be this. Okay, and in place of ID you can just put like docker -cred, meaning Docker credentials. Same thing I will put in description. Click on add, select the Docker installation, and here credential that we just added, and generate this script. Okay, and let me copy this block. Okay, now first of all, remember that do not directly run it. Basically Docker commands needs to be run inside a script. So I will create a script by in this format, script curly braces, and inside it our Docker block. Okay, so let me, okay, now the main Docker concept that I wanted to explain you. As you can see, our Jenkins application is running on port 8080, right? And if I go to here, you can see here also port 8080 in our Docker file. Okay, now for any new person in DevOps, they will get confused and they might try to change the port. Okay, but let me explain you through a diagram what exactly is happening. Okay, because see, understanding things in a proper way is very important, so that's what I'm going to explain you. Okay, let's say this is my VM. Okay, this is my VM, and inside the VM on port, inside the VM on, one second, let me write it properly so you don't, on port 8080 Jenkins is running. Okay, this is on port inside on this VM on port 8080 Jenkins is running, right? And then let's say second block we have is this is the browser. Okay, on our laptop this is the browser, so I can just put something like that. Okay, this is my system. Okay, and to access the Jenkins, I'm accessing inside browser Jenkins, right? And I'm accessing where I'm accessing on port 8080. Okay, now what you need to understand something. This port 8080 that is inside now VM, on the VM, right? And this port, this is the port on the browser. Okay, first thing. Second thing, I want to tell you something. So the problem that we have is like, okay, you can see application is supposed to run on port 8080. Okay, but this is inside the container. Okay, this port will be open inside the container. Okay, so let's say I created a Docker container. Okay, now this is also similar to a VM, a Docker container. Okay, so this is like let me provide a name as container. Okay, and inside this our application will be running, and application inside the container, the port on the container is 8080. Okay, do not get confused. See, this port, this is on the VM, and this port, this is on the container that is running inside the VM. Okay, so they are not same. Okay, now the problem is ki if I try to access the application on my browser on port 8080, it is not possible because port 8080 is also occupied. Okay, so what I will do is I will try to access the deployed application on my browser on a port 8081. Okay, now see the thing what is happening exactly here. We are using two ports. First port for the application is 8080 on which is inside the Docker container, and we are accessing the application on our machine on port 8081. Okay, and let me show you like it will be more clear once we do it. Okay, so here we need to write the docker commands. I will write, let me write it again as such for shell based, double quotes, docker build -t, name I want to put as Santa, and tag will be just latest. Okay, and then we need to provide the path of docker file. So docker file is on root location, so I will just put a dot. That means docker is on docker file is on root location. Okay, same thing. Now we will create a next stage, which will be for building tagging the docker image and pushing it inside docker hub registry. Here I will put the name as tag and push docker image. Okay, so here I am going to use the command as docker tag. Let's remove this -t and remove this dot also, and new name of the image, new tagged image will be with your username, docker registry username slash the name that you configured, which will be this one. Okay, let me just match correct username, ADICAISWR, correct. Okay, so docker image is tagged. Now what I want to do is push it inside docker registry, docker hub registry. Okay, which we can do using the command. Let me remove till this much, docker push, and how it is getting credential from here. Okay, so this is done. Next command which I want to run is basically run the docker run the application inside docker container. How do I do that? Going to here, and let's provide the name as deploy application, and let me remove this command. Sorry about that. Yeah, and here okay, so we need to write the command to create the docker container. We will write docker run -d for detached mode. Name we don't need to provide. Then coming the most important thing, port. Okay, now as I told here, first port that we need to write is the host port on which we will access the application. So we cannot access it on port 8080, we will access it on port 8081. This is the host port on which we will access. Okay, so I will write as 8081. Okay, then container port. So container port, if you can see, it is in the container created inside which the port is 8080. Okay, so we'll put the container port is 8080, and the application will be accessible on port 8081. Got it? So everything seems fine to me now. Docker run -d-p, so on host port, container port, name of the docker image, fine. Click on apply and let us see the results. Click on build now. Okay, so let's see. Let's hope it does not fail, because first build was success, and I hope second build will also be success. Let us track the progress in detail through console log, and yeah, it is running SonarQube analysis. So let's see. SonarQube analysis is successful. Now it is in dependency check. Now let's see how much time does it take. Since it does not need to download the database, because it was already done in its first run of the pipeline. So see, let us see. So meanwhile, yes, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do. It keeps me motivated to keep making hands-on videos for you. Also, I'm trying in this video, see, at least I believe that if you watch this video completely, you won't be ever facing any issue while writing pipelines in interviews or for self-learning, okay, or anything else. Okay, Okay, so OWASP is done. Now it is building the application. Now it is building the Docker image, which is, I guess, almost done. Yeah, now it is pushing the Docker image is tagged. Now it is pushing the Docker image to Docker Hub registry. Okay, so it seems our application has been deployed and we should be able to access the application on port 8080, right? Let me try to do it. I hope it does not fail now. Amazing. This is just amazing. In one go, we are able to build and deploy. Right. Click on here and we can add any person like Aditya. You know, the best part about this application, this is the front end, right? It has a back end also. And this information which I'm like creating here, this is going inside, this is being stored inside a database. Okay. So this is good and we can generate matches. Okay. Whatever things like small things you can do. Okay. So yeah, that's pretty much about this video, but yeah, I hope you people will support me. See, one of the good things here also, we are able to generate report for dependency check also. This is good. If you want to see in detail, you can open it, and here you can see the detailed OS dependency check report. Even though you are not the one who is going to fix it basically, but still you can see like wherever it was able to find the vulnerabilities, it is giving you the details. Okay, so that is good. So yeah, pretty much this is all about today's video. You are able to build the application as well as deploy it. Side by side, we followed security practices as well as best practices. And I hope this video is useful to you. And I hope you people will keep supporting me. So thanks for watching and have a nice day.